Cladoselache. Cladoselache is considered the first true shark. It lived 380 million years ago. It had a torpedo-shaped body, a forked tail, similar to modern sharks. But there were crucial differences: 7 gills instead of 5, a head that looked more like a regular fish, and the strangest detail, no scales. None. Just thin, fragile skin. A naked shark. Its fossils were found so well preserved in the Cleveland Shale of Ohio that you can see muscle fibers, and even prey remains inside the stomach. Still, Cladoselache wasn't the dominant predator of the oceans. That title belonged to the placoderms, armored fish like Dunkleosteus. Stethacanthus. This one looks like someone glued an ironing board to the back of a shark. It lived between 382 and 298 million years ago. The males had a dorsal fin shaped like a flat anvil, covered in tiny spikes, enlarged dermal denticles, that also appeared on the top of the head. Scientists believe this combo was used in mating rituals. 2 males would face each other head-on, locking the spikes on their heads against the opponent's dorsal platform, pushing until one gave up. To this day, no female fossil has been identified with certainty. It's possible the females looked so different they were accidentally classified as a separate species. Stethacanthus ranged from 70 centimeters to 3 meters in length and was likely a slow-moving bottom dweller, too sluggish for high-speed chases. Akmonistion, a close relative of Stethacanthus, also from the Carboniferous. It also had the bizarre anvil-shaped dorsal structure, known from fossils found in Bearsden, Scotland. One of the few primitive sharks preserved nearly complete outside the United States. The difference is that Akmonistion had a more robust skull and slightly different dentition, adapted for somewhat larger prey. Falcatus, another Carboniferous shark from the so-called Golden Age of sharks. Falcatus was about 30 centimeters long, roughly the size of a large pencil. Males had a long, curved spine that extended from the dorsal fin and projected forward over the head, like a horn pointing frontward. The most likely function? Sexual display. Fossils from Montana show male-female pairs preserved together, suggesting some kind of courtship ritual at the moment of death. Xenacanthus, a freshwater shark. That's right, rivers and swamps, not oceans. It lived from the Devonian to the end of the Triassic, about 202 million years ago. The body was elongated like an eel, with a continuous dorsal fin running from the back all the way to the tail. The most striking feature, a sharp spine on the back of the skull, projecting rearward. It was made of actual bone, unusual for a cartilaginous fish. Some scientists speculate this spine may have been venomous, similar to a stingray's barb. Its teeth had an unusual V-shape, designed for grasping small crustaceans and armored fish. Fossils have been found on every continent, showing it was one of the most widespread freshwater predators of the Paleozoic. Orthacanthus, another freshwater shark from the same group as Xenacanthus, lived during the Permian. A complete specimen found in Germany shows a long eel-like body with the same spine on the back of the skull. Orthacanthus could reach 3 meters. Stomach content fossils reveal it ate juveniles of its own species, cannibalism confirmed by the fossil record. Nearly all freshwater shark diversity was wiped out during the Great Permian extinction, when 80 to 95% of all species on the planet were eliminated. Helicoprion, the buzzsaw shark. It lived between 290 and 225 million years ago. Almost everything we know about it comes from a single, unique structure. A spiral of teeth on the lower jaw, like a circular saw made of enamel. Some spirals contained over 150 teeth and measured up to 60 centimeters in diameter. For over a century, nobody knew where this spiral fit on the body. In 1899, Russian geologist Alexander Karpinski described the first fossils and thought the spiral extended from the snout. Other scientists proposed it was on the dorsal fin, the tail, the back. It wasn't until 2013 that CT scans of an Idaho specimen revealed the truth. The spiral occupied the entire lower jaw. Helicoprion wasn't technically a shark. It was a holocephalin, more closely related to modern chimeras. It could reach 12 meters in length. It fed on soft-bodied prey like squid and cephalopods. When it closed its jaw, the teeth rotated backward, pulling the prey into the mouth. Edestus, called the scissor-toothed shark, also from the Carboniferous. Edestus had a peculiar dental problem. As new teeth grew in the back of the jaw, the old ones didn't fall out. They were pushed forward until they protruded out of the mouth like blades. The result was a jaw that looked like giant pruning shears. Edestus giganteus reached 6 meters, the same size as a modern great white. The leading theory is that it thrashed its head violently up and down, slashing prey with vertical strikes. No modern shark hunts like that. Hybodus, the survivor. Hybodus appeared at the end of the Permian and lasted until the end of the Cretaceous. A lineage that survived for over 200 million years. That potentially makes it the longest-lasting shark genus in history. Visually, it resembled modern sharks. 2 dorsal fins, a small mouth, a hydrodynamic body. But it had 2 large spines on the dorsal fins and 2 types of teeth. Sharp ones in the front for grabbing and flat ones in the back for crushing. This dental versatility is probably what allowed Hybodus to survive for so long. It could eat fish, mollusks, and crustaceans, adapting to whatever was available. Ptychodus, the crusher shark, lived between 185 million years ago during the Cretaceous. It had over 550 massive, flattened teeth, perfect for crushing shells. At 11 meters long, it was probably the largest animal that ever fed exclusively on shellfish. Ptychodus's jaw worked like an industrial grinder. Any oyster, clam, or crustacean was pulverized. Cretoxyrhina, the Ginsu shark, named after the Japanese knives, lived between 175 million years ago, sharing the oceans with giant marine reptiles. But it was still the apex predator. Plesiosaurs, tylosaurs, Xenacanthus fish, and even Archelon, the largest turtle that ever existed, all were prey for the Ginsu, even though many were larger than it. The secret, 490 razor-sharp teeth, each up to 7 centimeters long, with an exceptionally thick enamel coating. These teeth didn't wear down. They cut through bone as easily as flesh. Scapanorhynchus, the ancestor of the modern goblin shark, lived during the Cretaceous. It had the same long, flattened snout as today's goblin shark, packed with ampullae of Lorenzini, sensory organs that detect electric fields generated by the muscle movements of other fish. The sheer number of ampullae that fit on that enormous snout meant Scapanorhynchus could strike prey with surgical precision, even in total darkness. It was relatively small, between 50 and 65 centimeters, and inhabited deep waters where sunlight couldn't reach. Cretolamna, a shark genus from the Cretaceous to the Paleogene, between 90 and 50 million years ago. Medium-sized, common in the waters of North America, Africa, and the Middle East. It fed on turtles, squid, bony fish, and other sharks. Cretolamna is important because it belongs to the same order as the most well-known modern sharks, the lamniforms, and shows that the basic predatory shark body plan was already established nearly 100 million years ago. Otodus obliquus, the direct ancestor of the megalodon, lived during the Paleogene between 66 and 23 million years ago. After the extinction of the dinosaurs, sharks began growing large again, and Otodus obliquus was one of the first giants of this new era. Its teeth had prominent lateral cusplets, a trait that gradually disappeared along the lineage until it reached megalodon. Carcharocles angustidens, another link in the chain between Otodus obliquus and megalodon, lived between 35 and 22 million years ago. It had large, serrated teeth and was already significantly bigger than today's great white. It fed on penguins, dolphins, fish, and whales. Fossils found in North America, South America, Europe, Africa, and Oceania show it was a predator with global distribution. Otodus megalodon, the largest shark that ever lived. It existed between 23 and 2.6 million years ago. A 2025 study suggests it could reach up to 24.3 meters in length, larger than today's whale shark. It had about 276 teeth in its mouth, and estimates suggest it consumed around 2,500 kilograms of food per day. Megalodon fossils have been found on every continent except Antarctica. It hunted the largest turtles, seals, and whales. One theory suggests that the seasonal migration of whales into cold waters evolved specifically as a response to megalodon, which couldn't survive in freezing temperatures. When whales learned to flee to the cold, and orcas evolved as a new apex predator, megalodon lost its advantage. Despite what pop culture suggests, the great white shark is not descended from megalodon. It's related to mako sharks. And yes, megalodon is 100% definitely extinct. Sharks have existed for over 450 million years. They survived all 5 mass extinctions, but that doesn't mean they passed through unscathed. With every global catastrophe, dozens of lineages disappeared. After each extinction, the survivors diversified into completely new forms. The sharks we see in today's oceans are just the most recent chapter of a story that began before plants even colonized dry land. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more extinct creatures explained, subscribe to the channel. Every new subscriber helps us keep making content and exploring the most fascinating animals that ever lived. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next one.